The Nanodos Podcast.
The Nanodos Podcast.
The Nanodos Podcast.
The Nanodos
The Nanodos
Podcast.
Podcast.
The Nanodos
The
Podcast.
Nanodos
The
Podcast.
Nanodos Podcast.
The Nanodos.
You been Nanodos.
Welcome to another episode of the Nanodos Podcast. And this is a podcast where real life and real conversations meet intentional living. Guys, I am your host, Ashiva, and I just want to ask you one question today. How are you? How are you this wonderful Sunday evening? Are you taking a walk on the beach, relaxing? Or are you helping the children with homework? Are you cooking Sunday dinner right now? Some stewed chicken, rice and peas, perhaps some steamed fish, vegetables, coleslaw. A nice jug of cool June plum ginger juice. Regardless of what you're doing, I am so happy that you chose to be with me here on the Nanodos podcast. Yes, I'm so happy. Guys, we would have some new listeners over the last week. And for new Nanodosers, I just want to thank you for joining the family. It is cozy over here. We love each other over here. We appreciate each other over here. And just continue listening to the podcast, streaming it. Stream to the end, might I add. Comment, interact with the podcast, like it on social media, and just continue staying on the ship of the Nanodose podcast. Lovely. Today, guys, I want to get into a very needed conversation. As we're getting older, I believe that this conversation becomes more and more necessary. Also, I have entered a few rooms, including church, and I would have had few conversations over the last couple of months, and this is a conversation that continually comes up. And the question is, are children the pension plan? Are children obligated to take care of their parents in old age? The truth of the matter that, especially here in Jamaica and in the Caribbean at large, we have the notion that our parents raised us, and so we owe them everything in return. It's simple. That's it. Full stop. But my question is, if it is a demand, then it is no longer a free will that is given out of love and our hearts. And, it's now an obligation. But where is the tender side about it? Where is it? So today we really want to delve into it, dissect it, analyze it. And I want you, my fellow nanadosers, to listen and answer at the end of the podcast and tell me what your answer is. You don't have to tell me on social media, but you can answer the question to yourself if you don't want to tell nobody. Deal? Deal. I hope nobody said no deal, Remember, the walls have ears. Just letting you know. All right. Did you know that in Jamaica, under the Maintenance Act of 2005, particularly Section 10, that parents and grandparents can take their adult child to court for financial support? Did you know that? I'm sure a lot of you didn't know that it is legal for parents to take their children to court if they're not taking care of them. So off the bat right there, so we would have answered the question. We don't need to go any further into the podcast. There is your answer. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. But really and truly, there is your answer legally. The law also states that if you have a parent that is non-biological, that took care of you, nurtured you, loved you, sent you to school all the way through university, ensured that you had the best life, they can also take you to court for a maintenance order. That is what they call it. You know, like how you have child support, maintenance order is what you call it. Yes, my friends, our parents and grandparents can take us to court for maintenance order. And the law also states that if an adult child fails to provide support, the dependent parent can initiate legal proceedings in family court to secure the maintenance order. Let's sit on that for a minute. Let's sit on that for a minute. Yeah. It is a legal obligation for us to take care of our parents. No, the truth of the matter is that right here in Jamaica, we have an aging population. Our health minister time and again comes online and he says, oh, we have our aging population and the young people need to have children and they need to start multiplying because one day soon we will have little to no young people. And I know a lot of us, especially in our 20s and 30s, are like, well, too bad for you. We're just out here trying to survive. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But we are living in an aging population. By 2058, it is expected for the older generation to outnumber the younger generation. Yep. The question I want to ask, though, is right now, considering that 15% of the Jamaican population is over 60, who is taking care of those folks right now? Do you want to know the answer? The answer is family members, including children. Family members are the ones taking care of the aging population right now. And most of them are not being paid, hence they're sacrificing their career. Most of them, they need additional help with mom and dad, especially if they're bedridden, to turn them, to bathe them, to feed them. Most of them are sacrificing their life for mom and dad right now. See, when it comes on to having an aging parent or having aging parents, the burden oftentimes fall on the children. Statistics shows that up to 70% of children feels stressed. They feel burdened. And I think it is because most of the responsibility is on one person. Maybe you have external members, perhaps other siblings, aunts, uncles, etc., sending resources, sending the money, sending whatever, the barrel, whatever it is that the parents may need. But when it comes on to caretaking, it falls on one person most times, and it's very, very difficult for that one individual to navigate their stress levels. Another thing is too, when we're looking at mental and emotional health, 40 to 70% of children shows that they're depressed because they are isolated and alone, because they have no one to talk to, because they are just overwhelmed with the responsibility. And the truth of the matter is, taking care of the aging population is slowly breaking a lot of people. So let's paint the picture. You're currently in your 30s. You're trying to build your life, your career, and maybe your children. And here in Jamaica, nearly 1 in every 7 people is over 60. And most of them are being taken care of family members, including children, right? There's no salary for that caregiver. No training has been given to that caregiver. And there's no real physical support there. Globally, as I would have said, up to 70% of caregivers are dealing with depression. So imagine you're tired, you're overwhelmed, and you're showing up every single day for mom and dad because they took care of you. That is a sacrifice many persons right now are living. Yeah. So when we ask the question, are children obligated to care for their parents? Put that into perspective. Are you willing to undergo that for your parents? And sometimes, it may not be as stressful as that, because personally, I think that if there is a plan and if there is a strategy, one person does not have to feel all the burdens. But it's not always the case. Not every family is going to have the resources to have an in-house caregiver. Not every family is going to have all hands on deck to rotate who takes care of the parents on specific days. Sometimes one person is just going to have to sacrifice. So when that one person becomes you, I want you to ask yourself, are you obligated to take care of your parents in that regard? From that perspective, are you your parents' pension plan? And that in that case, it would be so difficult too because you're not even working. But overall, are you your parents' pension plan? All right, before we even pick sides, let us slow down. Let's slow down. All right, because we took it off a notch quickly. So let's slow down. Because we already know that the conversation, it's not simple. It is a very layered conversation. It's very emotional. It's very personal. So let's even look at it from additional angles. We would have already looked at it from a worldview angle, a realistic angle here in Jamaica. So now let's look at it from an emotional standpoint, an emotional point of view. Let's go to the part where a lot of people tend to avoid, because not everyone had the same experience growing up. Not everyone had both parents in house, showing love, taking care of them, sending them to school, sacrificing, right? Yes, some people had the loving parents. They were there, they supported, they guided, they protected. And I believe that caregiving for them, the child to the parent, it feels natural. It almost feels automatic. Yeah, man, because mom did this for me, dad did this for me, so I have to do this for them. I have to show up for them. I have to be there for them. I have to ensure that they're good. But my question is, what happened to the parent that was absent, that neglected their children when they were younger? What happened to the parent that showed emotional distance? What happened now to the parent that caused their children or child trauma? Should that child show love, show obligation, show responsibility, show care for that parent? Is it fair to say, I must now come and take care and sacrifice my life for you? Honestly, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair, but I am not the one who sets the rules. I am not the law. In fact, I am not Jesus Christ, because he did say, honor your father and your mother, that thy days may belong upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. He's the one that said that. I did not say that. So really and truly, my opinion does not matter. If I were that child, I'm not going to say I will neglect my parents, but I would give without inconveniencing myself. I would give without sacrifice, if that makes sense. Yeah. If I have $50 and my children and my family needs $30 or $40, then I'll give my parents 10. In this case, to the parent that neglected me, I would give without sacrifice, but it would be very hard for me personally to give unconditionally. I believe that children who undergo this should also get some healing. There's a lot of hurt and a lot of pain embedded in those walls, and it needs to come out because it can stay there and passed on to generation to generation to generation. So again, personally, for me, I wouldn't sacrificially give, but I would give if I could. So now, let's make it even more practical, right? We are something called the sandwich generation, which means we are taking care of our parents and we're taking care of our children, the new generation. But we're right in the middle. So considering we're the sandwich generation, we have all these responsibilities on our plate. Life right now is expensive. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the increase in oil prices? Can we talk about the increase in food prices? Can we talk about the increase in just simple costs of living? Clothes, shoes. If you like to fix up and look good, hair, nails. You know what I mean? Like, the cost of living is going up. And nothing really feels secure. Nothing feels secure because as soon as you're stabilized, the prices and the cost goes up. And so does inflation. But what if you were now to add doctor's visits, add medication, add groceries for your parents, add time and energy and emotional support? You're adding, and just suddenly it's like you're not living your life anymore. It's like you're carrying multiple lives at once because you have so many dependents. It stops feeling like a duty and more like pressure. And we already stated that caregivers are pressured. But nobody really prepares us for that part. Nobody really prepares us for how stressful it can get. And that's why we're having the conversation on the None of Those podcast, because it's going to get stressful. It's going to get pressuring. So practically, it is heavy. And practically, you're going to be carrying heavy load. Woman, a heavy load. Heavy. So when people say, oh, taking care of your parents is simple, Is it really that simple, guys? It is so complex. It is so filled with layers. It is not simple. So now, I would have asked my fellow nanadosas the same question. Are children obligated to their parents in their old age? Are children the parents' retirement plan? And I would have gotten responses from the parents' perspective, and I would have gotten responses from the child's perspective. So I'm really excited to read out the responses. So let's get right into it. So this is from the children, starting with that. Ananadosa said, "Me not gonna lie. Sometimes me feel like me drowning. Me love my mother. Me really do. She sacrificed a lot for me growing up. But now it feels like everything just dropped on me. The rent, the bills, the food, the medication, and the doctor's visits. Me barely manage to take care of my mother. And it's like me can't even complain because the minute me say anything, people start look upon me like I'm ungrateful. But in truth and in fact, me grateful for everything what she do. Nobody really tell you that adulthood would come with this pressure. It feel like my life just pause and everybody else that depend on me to keep going. This Nanadosa is definitely carrying a lot, guys. Pray for each other. Now, I have another Nanadosa that says, I will always help my parents. No questions asked. But I reach a point where I realize if I don't set boundaries, I will lose myself. I cannot pour from an empty cup. If I'm broke and if I am mentally drained, I'm not going to be good in taking care of my parents. So, I tell them straight, I will do what I can, but I won't be able to do everything. That don't mean I don't love them. It just means that I am human. And honestly, that was one of the hardest conversations I had. All right, so here is another response. This person says, if something happened, everybody look for me. Hospital, me. Money shot, me. Emergency, me again. I have siblings, but somehow they always busy or they not have it right now. It start to build a resentment in me because I feel like it is unfair. Like life become everybody's safe net. And the worst part, if I ever decide to step back, I will look like the bad one. Yeah. At the end of the day, my friend, keep holding on. Just remember your why. I just keep going. Just keep going. All right. Now here is another response. Honestly, I struggle with this one bad. My father wasn't there for me growing up. No emotional support. He was not consistent. No financial support. He was absent. Now he is older and people are expecting me to just step in as if everything is normal. I wrestle with guilt because I'm not a wicked person, but at the same time, I can't ignore the past like it has never happened. People quick to say, "Are your father?" but they never lived the experience. So, I'm just still trying to figure out what my role even looks like in this situation. Another non-adolescent, this is the final child. This person says, who me? I will always take care of my parents. If they need food, they have it. If they need gas, they get it. If they need care, I'll give it. They would have sacrificed so much for me. And in turn, I will sacrifice everything for them. They are the world's greatest parents. Lovely. Love to hear it. We're now moving into the parents' perspective. I want to hear what they had to say. I want to hear their outlook. I want to hear if they believe that the children are their retirement plan, because many Jamaicans have the notion that children are their retirement plan. But what says actual parents? Here we go. Here's the Nanadosa number 1. Me raise my children with everything me have. Me sacrifice. Me go without. Me make sure them go school and them have food. So yes. Me expect them to be there for me when I get older. That is how me grow up and see it. You take care of your parents, no question. You don't even feel like something I should be debating, because it is just the right thing to do. And I hear you, Mr. Parent. I hear you. Moving on. Another parent, Nanadosa, said, sometimes I feel hurt. I won't lie. I did everything for my children. And when you need a little help, it feels like you're begging. They're always busy. They're always tired. And yes, I understand that life is hard, but still, it makes you wonder if all your sacrifice really means the same thing to them. Makes you wonder indeed, my friend. Makes you wonder. Moving on to another parent, Nanadosa. She says, I always tell myself, me no want depend upon my children too much. Me see how hard life is. Everything is expensive and they have their own responsibilities. If them help, I am grateful, but I don't want them to feel like they are trapped, because at the end of the day, they have their own lives too to live. She's such an understanding parent, don't it? Yeah, man. Good for you. Moving on. Another parent, Nanadosa, said, I never raise my children to feel like they owe me anything. I raise my children to stand strong, to build their own life, to be independent. If they choose to help me, I'll appreciate it from the heart. But I don't believe in forcing the responsibility on them. At the end of the day, parents should have their stronghold and their plan for retirement. So no, it is not my children's responsibility. However, if they choose to help me in any form, that love should come naturally, not from guilt. All right. Clear as crystal, I would say. All right, the last response that I have here is, I think it is selfish of some parents to think that kids should be responsible financially, especially in these hard times. What will the kids have to take care of their own families? Parents should make their own preparations for old age. And what I see consistently, especially from the parents' perspective, is no, they're not gonna rely on their children for anything. They're gonna build their safety net. But if their children chooses to give anything, they'll accept it and they'll be grateful. But to make their child their retirement plan, that's a no-no. And I can definitely appreciate that perspective. I can appreciate that perspective. I really can. What I would say though, which is my wholesome perspective now, to answer the question, are children the parents' retirement plan? Are children obligated to their parents for old age care? Yes. My perspective and my final answer is yes. Let's start with what the Bible says. I would have mentioned this earlier. The Bible gives us clear directives to honor our father and our mother. The Bible didn't give conditions as to how or when you honor your father and your mother. The Bible did not say, honor thy father and thy mother only if they take care of you. If they do not take care of you and they are toxic parents, do not honor them. The Bible didn't say that. If they were neglecting parents, do not honor them. If they were absent parents, do not honor them. The Bible didn't say that. The Bible gave clear directions as to honoring your parents. So yes, we are obligated to our parents through the directives of God. Secondly, I would have started with the Maintenance Act of 2005, Section 10. Legally, friends, listeners, nanadosas, you are obligated to your parents here in Jamaica, whether you want to or not. I do believe, however, that especially if now a judge and court and all of that is involved, there may be a leniency depending on the situation, but at the end of the day, the law is the law. But again, you are obligated to your parents through directives of society. And then lastly, I believe that you have an obligation to yourself to take care of your parent, to be fulfilled as an individual, to feel like you're giving back to them, especially if they were around and they sacrificed and they helped and they loved and they cared. You have that obligation to feel fulfilled in your heart. Yes, I would have given my perspective if the parent is toxic, absent, etc. But that's only my perspective. I cannot empathize with a child whose parent was that. Because big up my parents, they were there and they're still there. So I cannot empathize with a person who's going through that now. You are going to have to work through your emotions. You're going to have to even forgive your parents. You're going to have to dig deep and see where you stand. Because there is an obligation for you to take care of your parent. That is the truth of the matter. You have an obligation. You just need to dig deep, heal, forgive, and complete it. It will not be easy. I know it doesn't sound easy. I know it's hard. I know it. I know. But the fact of the matter is, we all as children, we all have an obligation to our parents to take care of them in old age. We have an obligation to our parents to love and care for them. Would I say we are their retirement plan? Absolutely not. But I will say that we definitely have a responsibility to them until the Lord Jesus Christ calls them home. We have an obligation to them. Now, I don't know where you stand with your parents, but I encourage you, if it's not too late, to bridge the gap while you can, to help while you can, to assist while you can, because life is short and anybody can go first in this life. We can go first, they can go first. We have to have the conversation, guys. It's uncomfortable, but it's true. Guys, this is just my perspective. This is just my 2 cents when it comes on to this topic. We could go deeper and deeper and deeper. We could go longer and longer and longer. But in a nutshell, this is what it is. Keep the conversation going. Now that the episode is finished, you can answer the poll question. Let me know your response. Are you obligated to take care of your parents in their old age? Let me know. Nana Dosas, it is such a pleasure, as always, to have you along this ride with me. I am so happy that you stayed tuning for the entire episode. But this is where we part. Until next week. Friends, you've been Nana Dosed. Take care.